Hey, my name is Tammy. I'm a human being, and in today's video, I'll be doing yet another AccuQuilt block translation inspired by one of the blocks from Maggie Malone's 5500 quilt block designs. Want to see which block I chose for today's video? Stay tuned. So for today's video, I'll be translating block 399, which is called the Dublin Steps. I was attracted to this block because I like how these pieces here, these units here, they kind of remind me of a flower. It feels very happy and cheerful. So let me show you which dyes I'll be using and which color fabrics I have selected. Stay tuned. Okay, so I am on a mission to use as much of my grunge fabric as possible. I recently invested in Bella Solids and Kona Solids fabric, and so I'll be using those fabrics for actual projects. But for the AccuQuilt block translations, I'm going to go ahead and continue to use my grunge because I have so much of it. I feel so guilty like putting it in a stash or not using it. So here we go. So for this Dublin Steps block, I'll be using like an off-white, an orange, a green, and a purple. These colors were selected by using a color wheel, and I was inspired by this purple, and so I used this purple to select these other two colors. And let me show you what I mean by that. This is the color wheel that I use when I'm selecting fabrics for my projects. You can see here that I've selected a violet, and yes, it's not the exact color of this purple. I could have maybe kind of gone with this one that's like a red violet, but either of these two would work. And so let me give you a close-up of how I selected the accent fabrics. So starting off with either number 13, which is violet, or 14, which is a red violet, I decided that I wanted 4 colors for this block. So if I were to just use 2 colors, I would start here, and then the complementary color would be number 1, and it's literally on the exact opposite of the color wheel. So if I spin it around, that would be the yellow. But since I wanted 3 colors, or actually 4, this is how I made the selection. So if you go down to this section of the color wheel, you see here that you start off with this primary color, which is the purple. And then the first color on this side, these are different variations of green. And so that's how I came up with the green. And on the opposite sides, is a variation of oranges, and that's how I came up with the orange. The cream color I'm just using as a background fabric, and so that's how the fabrics were selected. Stay tuned and I'll show you which dyes I'll be using to cut out this block. I am using my 6-inch Qube mix and match set. So the first dye I'll be using is dye number 1, which is the square. The second dye I'll be using is dye number 2, and dye number 2 is a square or a series of 4 squares, and this dye is what I'll be using to create that 4 patch that we saw in the inspiration block called Dublin Steps. The third dye I'll be using is dye number 3, and dye number 3 are half square triangles. The fourth dye I'll be using is dye number 5. Dye number 5 are also half square triangles. They just finish to a smaller diameter. So when you compare dye number 5 and then dye number 2, what you'll see is that when you piece together these 2 smaller half square triangles, they essentially can fit in one of the sections of the square. So I am going to cut out the fabric and then show you how everything looks prior to sewing it together. Stay tuned. Here is another look at the Dublin Steps quilt block from Maggie Malone's 5500 quilt block designs book. I wanted to just refresh your memory, and when I show you the orange and the cream colors, and when I say I'm going to use that to make the flower unit, this is the flower unit I'm referring to. And to me, it looks like a little tulip. So this is the tulip flower unit of this block, and these are the 4 patches. And when I say the center square, this is clearly the center, and these are the half square triangles. So let me show you now what the colors look like all cut out. So this green will be used as the center square. The green and the purple will be pieced together to make the center of the block. And these are, and by the way, there are 4 greens, 4 purples, because they'll be pieced together to make 4 different sections or 4 different units. And then right here, we have 6 of the creams and 6 of the oranges. Here we have 4 of those smaller half square triangles in cream and 4 of the smaller half square triangles in orange. So what will happen is these will turn into those 4 patches, and these will turn into that flower, that tulip shape. I'm going to piece together all of the units and then show you what they look like prior to completing the block. Stay tuned. Hey. So I have pieced together all of the elements for these units, and we have a basic 9 patch. Well, it's not basic because this was actually complicated. These units here that I'm calling a tulip flower, but it can also double as a bear paw. These were a little tricky because I started off wanting to sew all of these smaller squares together because I was just chain piecing and I was making the 4 patch, and then I pieced these together, and then when I went to assemble this unit, I was like, hold up, like I didn't cut enough pieces. And then I realized, wait a minute, these 2 here and these 2 here were not supposed to be sewn together to make this block. So of course I had to do some seam ripping, but I got it right. So here we are. What's going to happen now is I am going to piece these together, and then once those are pieced or sewn together, then I'll add these on and add the rows together, and the block will be completed. I'll show you what it all looks like. And by the way, my quilty friend, what do you listen to, or what do you watch, or what do you have going in the background as you are quilting? I am a true crime junkie. I'm always watching like Oxygen or like Investigation Discovery, Who Killed Who, and I almost forgot to turn it off when I started filming this segment, and it's important for me to turn it off because I do not want to get a copyright strike by YouTube. So comment down below and let me know what you're watching. Anywho, I am going to go ahead and stop this segment, sew everything together, and show you the finished block. Stay tuned. Ta-da! The Dublin Steps block is all completed. I see several secondary patterns in this block. Here, I don't know what I want to call this section, but it definitely is giving me a secondary pattern. On either side here, we have that flower or the tulip shape unit. And then on these ends, we have the 4 patch. I'm not too convinced I like this color scheme actually. So what do you think? Comment down below and tell me what you think of the color scheme as well as the block design. Until the next video, keep quilting, and I'll see you then. Bye.